Guys, James Miller Media here, coming at you with my expansion save. So, as you can see, I'm already a day into the season. I got a little excited, but I just want to go over the save file that I set up. So, essentially, this is going to take the MLB and have 40 teams by 2045, which means in the year now, 2025, there's going to be new expansion team every 5 years. So there'll be teams added in 2025, 2030, 2035, 2040, and 2045 to add 10 total teams to the league. So the way it works is all of the AL teams, while the season or while it's expanding, are going to be under one playoff structure. All the NL teams are under one playoff structure. And the way that I chose these teams are simple. I did basically the list that MLB is doing in real life, minus a couple, plus a couple, and with a couple of relocations just because of pure ease of relocating. First team that's going to be relocating is the Oakland Athletics. They will be relocating to Las Vegas, and they will be transferring divisions from the American League to the National League. I'll touch on that in a minute. The second team that's going to be relocating is the Chicago White Sox. I don't think Chicago is a big enough market to handle two Chicago teams. So in my headcanon, the Jerry Reisendorf and the Reisendorf family are going to sell the team to a Vancouver-based businessman, and they're going to relocate to Vancouver in 2030. The last team that will be changing divisions, and that is the Milwaukee Brewers. They will change to the American League in the future. What is that going to look like? Well, it's easy. This is how the structure of the league is going to turn out. In the American League, there will be 5 divisions of 4 teams. That will include the Pacific Division, splitting up the essential West Division, and adding a lot more teams on west of the Mississippi. So we are adding the Los Angeles Angels, Seattle Mariners, the Vancouver White Sox will be all in the Pacific League, as well as the Portland Pines, which are already an expansion franchise in this league right now. The Southwest Division will have the Houston Astros, Texas Rangers, the Austin Bats, which are also the team is a team that's been expanded in 2025. And lastly, the New Orleans Zephyrs, which the New Orleans Zephyrs, named after their old minor league team, will be expanding, granted their expansion franchise, in the year 2040. Then we have the Great Lakes Division, which will have the Detroit Tigers, Cleveland Guardians, Toronto Blue Jays, and Buffalo Wings. The Buffalo Wings will be awarded their expansion franchise in 2045 and will be the last team to join the American League. Then we have the Minnesota Twins, Kansas City Royals, Milwaukee Brewers changing over from the National League, and the Indianapolis Arrows, which they will be granted their franchise in 2035. And the Arrows comes from their old expansion bid back in the 1980s. And then the Metro League, which will have the New York Yankees, Boston Red Sox, Baltimore Orioles, and bringing baseball back to Canada, Montreal Expos. So there will be 3 Canadian teams within this division, or within the league. All 3 of them in the American League being the Montreal Expos, Toronto Blue Jays, and Vancouver White Sox. The National League will have relatively low change just because I think it's an older league. I think it's been around longer. A lot of these teams geographically make a lot of sense to keep together, but it's going to be this way nonetheless. In the Baja Division, we have Los Angeles Dodgers, San Diego Padres, the San Francisco Giants, and the Sacramento Solons. Still not 100% sure how to pronounce that, but essentially, Solon is a term for Greek lawmaker, and the term Solons was often used by journalists as a synonym for senators back in the 1800s and 1900s. So Solon Huntington was a prominent Sacramento businessman during the 19th century. So again, you can't say you learned nothing from this video. In the National League, we also have the Mountain Division, which will be the Colorado Rockies, Arizona Diamondbacks, the Las Vegas Athletics, which will be relocating and changing leagues. Sorry if you just heard my cat jump up on the desk. And the Salt Lake City team, I have not named them because the only names that I could come up are cheeky. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just Google Salt Lake City NHL franchise names and you'll see what I mean. But the Salt Lake City Yetis, the Salt Lake City Whitecaps, stuff like that, just go ahead and go crazy in the comments. Whatever's the highest voted comment when it comes time to name the Salt Lake City team will be the name of the Salt Lake City team. Then we have the Southeast, which has the Atlanta Braves, the Miami Marlins, the Tampa Bay Rays, which will change leagues, potentially could change locations, but more on that in a little bit. And the Carolina Pilots. I haven't even touched on when the teams will be granted their franchises. Salt Lake City will be given their franchise in 2035. The Sacramento Solons will be the last of the National League teams coming in 2045. The Carolina Pilots will be given their expansion franchise is 2040. And then we have the Central Division of the Chicago Cubs, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and Nashville Sounds. The Nashville Sounds will be granted their franchise in 2030. In 2030 is a big year for Major League Baseball. Let me just touch on that real quick. In 2030, Chicago will relocate to Vancouver. Oakland will relocate to Las Vegas, since that kind of matches the real-life timeline. Milwaukee will change to an American League team, which is their original division. And then Montreal and Nashville will be granted their expansion franchises. So 2030 is the big major change in baseball, where a lot of teams relocating, a lot of moving parts. And then the Capital Division is going to be the Philadelphia Phillies, Washington Nationals, New York Mets, and Pittsburgh Pirates. Players and teams, always batting aging speed changed to 0.95, development speed at 1.1, just so faster development and they slowly age. Talent change randomness of 135, 100's not enough. Anything above 135 gets a little too much. The development lab up to 10. I like having more development focused stuff than the 6 that's given. I see 8 is kind of what people go with, so I'm going to do 10. Rules, I have not changed anything except allow trading of injured players. I've just always done that. Options, I have ticked off expansion, team relocation, team nickname changed, and the designated hitter rule. I will be expanding the league manually just because that's always what I've seen. Renamed the reliever award name to the Mariano Rivera Award. Renamed the defense award name to Gold Glove. And then the manager name to Connie Mack. Wish I could add the Roberto Clemente Award, stuff like that, just because I think for realism that'd be cool. The playoffs are simple. You have a wild card round, which is a best of 3 at home, no off days, where the number 1 and number 2 seed in each division get a bye. Top 4 teams in each wild card league gets they have to play in for the tournament. Wild cards are always seeded Lotus, and it reorders seeding each round. So best of 3, best of 5, best of 7, best of 7. Wild card division, championship, World Series. Under players, I have everything set to default. So generate free agents, default. Generate international established free agents, default. International scouting discoveries, default. But I went in and changed some of these flags just because it's fun. The trade deadline, normal. The draft is June 1st, just because I like getting it done earlier in the year. And I've seen other out-of-the-park baseball creators do this as well. Also, I have changed to the Dominican League, Let's look at the options. They start June 7th with 80 games. Florida Complex starts June 7th with 60 games. The Arizona Complex starts June 7th with 60 games. So a week after draft, all the amateurs and the rookies start, and they have 2 months of games to play. We are in March 1st, one day into the season. I will be creating a breakdown of where we are and how we got there in the next video. This is just showing you the outline of the save. It's very rudimentary when it comes time for expansion and whatnot. You'll see what happens. So hopefully you guys are interested in this video. Hopefully you guys are interested in the save. I will be seeing you guys next time. Thank you guys so much for watching.